little is known about Teodora Ginés. With only one surviving composition, the mysterious Ginés is an old-world one-hit wonder. Or was she? Rather than avoid conjecture, the unknown, the unprovable, rather than silence the voices of those underrepresented individuals from long ago, we delve into lore to profile mysterious Teodora Ginés. Welcome to the creative world of stories by Lumedia Musicworks. Why is there so little known about Teodora Ginés?
This degree of obscurity can be addressed by a lengthy and involved explanation of the history of historiography, or musicology, as it developed in Europe in the 19th century, originating in Germany, but including France and Italy to a minimally necessary degree, which upheld the, usually male, composer and notated music as superior to the performance and improvisation, thereby deeming such practices as baroque ornamentation and such styles as jazz and theatre music as frivolous and unimportant.
What did he just say?
Wie auch immer.
For the historians out there, know that we take the view that the repertoire in this case, from 1562, is the closest thing to an archive, and as is often the case, it survives primarily through the oral tradition rather than the written tradition. Therefore, we must be satisfied with the idea that this particular composition is attributed to Teodora Ginés because no definitive manuscript exists, because no one bothered to write it down or take notes. Nothing is known about her family, other than she may have been of West African descent. One of the few definitive sources available indicates Teodora as being mulatta of mixed black and white heritage. We believe she was born a slave in Hispaniola, known today as the Dominican Republic. Positioned in the middle of the Caribbean, Hispaniola's climate is hot and humid year-round, or worse than a typical summer in Houston. If she worked outdoors, she was probably hot. She probably worked in the fields, tending animals in the usual way, feeding, shoveling manure, slaughtering, and or butchering. Or she planted, tended, and harvested sugarcane. If she worked indoors, she probably was not as hot, working for and waiting on the lady of the household, helping with tasks like cleaning, cooking, rearing children, etc. At some point, she was set free, but the details surrounding the event are unknown. It is possible that political unrest led Teodora and her sister, Micaela, to leave Hispaniola. Maybe they just wanted a vacation. In any case, they emigrated to Cuba. But why Cuba? There was a supply chain issue on the New World in the 16th century, a musician shortage. This meant job opportunities. Compared to the Old World, the New World was more laid back as to who was employed as musicians. Larger cities offered more opportunities to people of mixed race, and even to women. We are reasonably certain Teodora was a woman, and Teodora and her sister managed to secure work at the Cathedral of Santiago de Cuba. It's particularly notable that the Ginés duo were able to achieve this as mixed-race female former slaves. In Spain, forget it. Only men were hired. At the cathedral, they lived as any other cathedral musician did, working and performing in church services when needed. They were thought to have played the violin, the fife, and bandola. Someone somewhere actually wrote down that Teodora and Micaela sang too. They may have played whatever they could get their hands on. Again, not much is known about Teodora or her sister, and even less is written down. When they weren't working at the cathedral, Micaela and Teodora may have contracted themselves out to non-cathedral jobs.
Over here.
To whatever extent the church authorities allowed or knew about.
Come on.
Sneaking out at night to play party music. Their performances took place through exorbitant financial support of upper-class neighbors. A caveat: this entire documentary is largely speculative. How much truth there is to the information we have presented is unknown. Unless we go to Santiago to dig through surviving death or burial records, if they exist, or census records, or the phone book. However, Cuba was not in the budget. In effect, the story of Teodora's mysterious life lives on as we continue to make up stuff and guess as best as we can. We do know that Teodora played an important part of the history of early Caribbean music. The one composition attributed to her is called Son de Lama Teodora. We know this one is hers because it's got her name in the title. A particularly notable feature of this piece is the use of call and response, or antiphonal style. That's a fancy musicological term for back and forth. Call and response style appears frequently in African vocal music. It also shows up in jazz, blues, gospel, and lots of music from the Caribbean and Latin America. Other aspects of African music ended up in Cuban popular music and still do to this day. Things like lots of percussion, dance rhythms, and syncopation. You'll hear these techniques in Teodora Ginés' song at the end of this very brief, partially postulated, mostly surmised, speculative documentary, which is now at this point over.